Well, it's New Year's Day 2023. I decided to kind of give you an update on this U302 project that I've been working on, where it had the spun main bearing and the spun rod bearing. Yeah, I know what I'm saying here. Anyway, got with my machine shop guy. The crank was about 8 thousandths out. I didn't realize, and I'll explain a little bit more here in a minute, what happens when you spin a main bearing and a rod bearing. But anyway, I have came to some hard decisions on this tractor. I've been working on it. I know a lot of you have been following along. A lot of you have been excited to see how this turns out, just as I was. But I started doing some hard math. So my plan with this tractor was for a complete restore, make it look like it was when it was brand new. And when I started doing all of the math on what it was going to take in order to make that happen, I was going to be very upside down in what I would have put into this tractor as opposed to what it's worth. And although it is the very first one made in 1970 of the gas tractors, it just, that serial tag doesn't really add any value to it. So I could probably end up in my factory, I'd have about $12,000 in the restore, and the tractor maybe would be worth 8,000 to 9. I don't know. Guys will when you value things like that, it's interesting because people will be like, oh, it's got to be worth this much, but if they're buying, it's worth a lot less. So realistically, 8,000 completely restored in beautiful condition. But the serial tag being the first one, if it were the last one made in 1970 of the gas ones, I think that adds some value to it. So made the hard decision. I'm going to send this down the road to someone else. I just can't justify doing that and putting that much money into it. And I've got another one that I restored, and I know what I put into it, and it was in a lot better shape than this one. So I know pretty intelligently about how much money I would have in this if I were to completely redo it. So that's the decision I made. I'll walk inside, I'll show you the crank, and you know, show you a couple other things with this tractor, and then I guess the next project. It's on to the next project, which unfortunately won't be completely redoing this one. All right, inside the barn here, got a heater going, so it's going to be a little bit loud, but here's the block. You know, it's out of it. I think I've shown this before on the video before this one. I got the crank here in the bag. Got it back from the machine shop. I can pull back the bag enough to show that front spun. Well, that's where the bearing spun on the front main. And then of course it spun here, which is dark on the rod. That one didn't spin, but number 3, the middle main bearing's good, but the number 3 bearing back there, if it didn't spin, it was getting very close to spinning. So, and when I'm talking about, so I didn't understand this, you know, my first spun bearing, but my machine shop guy said actually when you spin a main bearing, it'll actually warp the whole shaft. The whole shaft will bow one way or the other. So when I say it's 8 thousandths out, he put it in on the front and the back surface is there, and he spun it around with a gauge in the middle, and it definitely has got a bow to it. He showed me how they would fix it, and then they could line hone the block and do all that. But again, that's just that. Then I still got to go through the blocks, got to go through the heads, got to go through the carburetor, the alternator. You know, I can go down the road for a complete restore. If I was just going to do this as a user, just to get it up and running to go out and farm with it, it would probably be worth fixing. But I'm not, I've got the propane back there for that. I've got other ones that I could do. So again, I made the tough decision to send this down the road. So I've been compiling all of the parts back here that will go with it, and it'll go off to the new owner, and he'll decide if he's gonna fix it or if he's gonna part it out. So What I have started working on then, with that one moving out and freeing up space, is on the Minneapolis Moline 114 Hydro lawn tractor I picked up this fall. So I just got the wheels powder coated. I've sandblasted them and then had them powder coated. I got a set of tires, a good set of used tires for it. I'm just taking off parts today to get in. I need to probably rebuild the carburetor, probably the fuel pump. The electric lift isn't working, so I need to figure out why that isn't working. So I'm going to start going through this lawn tractor, and that'll be a full repaint. I'll go through it mechanically, make sure everything's good, electrically make sure everything's good, and then as we get closer to spring, I'll start sandblasting and getting all the parts ready so that once it's warm enough, I can paint the whole thing and make it look like new. I also have some work I need to do on the propane, so by moving that other tractor out, I can get some of the projects done on this that I need to. The PTO runs all the time, and you can't stop it with resistance. It's locked up. I need to pull off the hydraulics on under the seat there and get in there. So I'll take you guys along for that ride when I do it. And then on the 955, it's been weeping out some antifreeze from the radiator area, not the block area. So I need to figure that out. And I want to go through the hood on this, and I want to repaint the hood. So I want to repaint the hood, the panels on this. I'm not going to do the engine and all that. I just want to freshen up the hood. I'll probably do the wheels. Got to check on the back centers. I'll probably end up trying to paint those. I'm going to take this one to Half Century of Progress this summer, so I want it looking nice to take out there. And Wayne Holland, whose dad had this tractor initially at their dealership, is going to be out there with me, and he'll get to drive it in the parade and do different things. So just want to get it going. And I've also been working on the group of lawn tractors I bought with the 114 in order to buy the 114. I got this 1650 Cub sold, been going through it, getting it. It's actually sold it to a friend, and he wants to use it. So we just pulled the wheels off so he can sandblast those, have those powder coated. We've been going through it. I did a little polish job on it. We're just getting it. He's an IH guy. He wants to use it around to mow and do some different things. So the mower deck runs real nice. I've been working on the 112 Hydro here that's got the Ford serial tag down there. Bought it, didn't realize it was painted over. I would say this tractor is mostly Minneapolis Moline, but for some reason they put a different Ford nose piece on it, just because the paint underneath looks like it was yellow, so it was painted yellow from the factory. Runs good, drives good. I need to get it sold. I've had it advertised, but I just took it down because I'm too busy to worry about that right now. As we get closer to spring, I'll probably put this back up. And then I've got the 108 clone over here that's also, it's a Jacobsen. I mean, it's red underneath. It's 100% Jacobsen underneath. But man, this is a nice tractor. I wish that it had a good Moline serial tag on it, because I would keep this thing, because it runs great, shifts good. It's got the manual shift transmission. It's a nice little tractor, but I can't keep everything. I'm about full as it is, especially when I start tearing in these projects. It will fill things up in here pretty quickly. So that's just kind of an update. I will be filming as I work on this garden tractor. This will be the first one that I've restored, first one that I've gotten into extensively to work on. And looking at it so far, I can see that a lot of the wiring has been butchered up over time. So, but it does crank over, but you got to use a jumper wire around the solenoid there. So it probably needs a new solenoid. The light does work for the electric PTO. So it's got some good things going for it, and it's just been, I don't know, the previous owner did a paint job on it that's not great, so obviously I'll blast it all down, smooth out everything, and then I will repaint it. Here's the hood, and you can see it's just kind of dull. You know, I think he tried to save the original decals on it, but he still painted it, and it just, he didn't smooth out the sheet metal before he did it, so it's just not, I guess it's to the point where I feel better if I just redo it. It shouldn't be too hard to do. So just a short video for today, for New Year's Day. Kind of get you up to speed. Again, I'm bummed out that that 302 is gonna leave, but then again, it frees up some time for the rest of the winter to accomplish a lot of other work that needs to be done in here, especially on the propane. I want to get it really completed, and then on the 955, it'll be good to get that done. It does also have a hydraulic leak in the rear end, where it leaks hydraulic fluid down into the rear end, and we've got to figure that out, if it's a seal in there or what it is. I got a buddy who's up on all of her rear ends, Oliver Phil, and he's going to give me a hand on that to figure out why it's leaking down. But that's where I'm at right now, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on with this little 114 hydro. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get through this cold winter and get back to good weather where we can get to some shows.